If you like this video, please give it a like and hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell not to miss more content coming soon. Welcome back to another episode of FPL Squad Picks. It's game week 27, and this week we're going to take a look at the review from double game week 26. We've got some transfer options, team selection, and finish with the captaincy at the end. So let's begin. So we had the double game week play out. It wasn't the best results for my team. I did end up playing triple captainship on Calvert-Lewin. Took a bit of a punt there with the fixtures that he had. And unfortunately, he blanked in both games. Richarlison was the one to go for the attacking returns in the Everton lineup. I did bring in Digne for this game, and so that was obviously a good shout there. He got 2 clean sheets, got some bonus points from a lot of the set piece involvement that he has. And Trent and Martinez both getting some good results there for me as well in defence. They were the ones that really saved the team. We did have a lot of City rotation. Foden only played, I think, a few minutes at the end of the first game and not at all in the second. And then we've got Cancelo, who also did a similar thing, but blanked the first game, didn't play on the bench, played the second, but they conceded. So it was only Gundogan really coming on that last few minutes of the second game to get an assist. That saved the City boys that I selected, but I think that's the risk that you run with having the sort of cheaper options across the City team. But obviously it means that you can get some more attacking assets within that for a cheaper price. If you're enjoying the video and would like to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. Now let's get back to it. So this week I'm going to be taking a look at potentially rolling the transfer. I've had a look around to see what I'd like to do. A lot of it would mean I've got to keep my eye on that game week 26 to be able to bring in someone like a potentially Spurs player. But it's just if I feel confident enough in taking out one of the big hitters to get in a Spurs player such as Son, if I wanted to bring him into the midfield. This week I wouldn't really want to take out Gundogan or Foden if I wasn't bringing in another City player for a hit, because they've got the double game week. Rafinha has got a decent fixture against West Ham. He's been performing really well, but he's also got a game in that game week 29 already, so I wouldn't want to be taking out players to replace them with players that have a different fixture. So the other options there are Fernandes and Salah. Now obviously Salah has got Fulham, been out of form recently, but the fixture suggests that they might be able to get something, even if Fulham have shown a bit more of a defensive play in the last few games. And done quite well. So we just got to hope really that Salah can bring it back and eventually get these returns and this sort of slump ends. The other option then is Fernandes, and I know that they obviously have Man City, but it's just that chance of, will Son perform better than Fernandes in the Crystal Palace game? That has a big high potential, but as soon as Fernandes gets a potential return of a penalty, an assist, which we know he's got that in his locker, the change to do that then is like, well, it would have been so close in points, and yeah, you've built for the game week 29, but the week after that I think Arsenal play Spurs, so that's going to be a big tense derby game. Even aside from form, I think it's going to be quite a decent fixture, and it might even mean they both play a bit more defensive. Then you've also got Fernandes, who's playing against West Ham, so it's not got a bad fixture. So it's weighing up, can you get through this week with Fernandes against City, or do you go for Son and potentially target this week to then next week, Man United having a slightly better fixture. But even saying that, West Ham have been performing very well. They have been conceding some goals. They haven't been completely solid at the back, but they have been a lot better. So it's just weighing up that really. Do I want to take out Fernandes, who's one of the biggest point scorers in the league right now, and always has that threat with penalties, for Son, who, even though in the last 2 game weeks played really well in the first game and got good returns, but then blanked in the second. So it is possible. So I think my team, as it'll line up, it'll end up looking a bit more like me rolling a transfer, Martinez at the back, Trent just based on the fixture. I think he's going to come in and have that space against Fulham. Cancelo because of the double game week, and hope he plays both games. Out of the other options in defence, I think it's a bit of a toss-up between Digne and Dallas, but I think I like the look of Dallas a bit more. He does play a bit more of a midfield role than push-up, And even though Digne has got those set pieces to be able to get the ball in, I think Chelsea's defence has been a lot better than West Ham's of recent. So I think Dallas might be the better option to go for there. Across the midfield, I think it would be the 5 across the midfield. So Gundogan, Fernandes, Salah, Foden and Rafinha. That's another 2 there with the City boys having double game weeks. And again, we also mentioned about Fernandes, just hoping that he can get through that fixture with maybe a return, or if not, maybe just like a 3 points. But I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. We're more looking for an attacking return from him and hoping that Salah can find some form against Fulham. Up front then, I've got an option there of Calvert-Lewin, but I do think that the safer bet would be to bench him this week again against that Chelsea defence. And I think bringing in Watkins and Bamford up front, they've both got fixtures where the teams have been leaking goals. Wolves more so than West Ham, but I just think that as much as Leeds can concede, they can also score. They're so attacking that it's a better play to put him in than Calvert-Lewin, who's been off form of recent. He's blanked in the last 2 games. He's just come back from an injury, and there was talk of Ancelotti having a bit of a 2 up front with Richarlison, so he might not get all of that sole ball into the box straight to him. It might end up being shared with Richarlison, so he could end up with an assist. He could end up with something from Richarlison, but I think it's a safer bet to go for Watkins and Bamford. So I think that sets up quite nicely then for next week with a roll transfer. It'll mean I'll have 2 then going into next week, which I could potentially again just make 1, or if we know what the game weeks are looking like, I've got a potential to look at the game week 29 and go, I can make 2 transfers next week ready for game week 29. But I think my sort of overall plan up to 29 would be blank transfers this week, roll that into next week, make 1 transfer then so I can roll that 2 into the game week 29, and obviously attack game week 29 when I know injury news, potential lineups a bit better. So I think that's a safer play, and it does end up that I'd have nigh on 11 starting players for next week that I'd be quite happy with as well, because there is still potential. It hasn't been announced yet, but I think there is rumour that the Everton and Aston Villa fixture, I believe it is, they might end up having that fixture rearranged into game week 28, so next week. So if that happens, I've already got then 2 Everton assets and I've got 2 Villa assets, so that would be great to have 4 players that are going to double game week next week if that does happen, but that hasn't been confirmed as of yet. So captaincy this week, I could look at a few different players there. You've got Salah with a good fixture. I just mentioned obviously the attacking potential of some of the Leeds boys there as well, and even Ollie Watkins. But to look past the City players, you've got Gundogan, Foden and Cancelo. I think Gundogan's been in such good form. He's had nigh on 2 games rest from the last fixtures. He only came on in the last few minutes of the last game. Even though Kevin De Bruyne has returned, before Kevin De Bruyne's injury, Gundogan was playing quite consistently. I think he has good potential to play both fixtures, both Man United and Southampton. And even if he doesn't get anything against Man United, which is a possibility, I'd like to think that he'd have a better points haul against Southampton. I'm leaving Foden in, obviously, just hoping that he plays both games, because again, he was in the same boat as Gundogan. He had a rest for both fixtures in the last game. I know that there has been some good performances from Bernardo Silva and Mahrez, and obviously with De Bruyne's return, it makes it difficult for Foden to have a space just to squeeze them all in. But I think with Aguero coming back and not finding the net, not getting any returns, Jesus doing okay, but again, it's like 1 or 2 returns in 2 or 3 game weeks. They might end up bringing Foden back in. They might end up playing a sort of like false 9 position with Sterling, which opens up a midfield space. So I'm hoping that's the case and that he'll get a bit of a run out as well. But as it stands, I am going to stick with Gundogan as captain, and I'll probably vice captain Salah then, because I think it's a bit safer of a play, just in case obviously there's any sort of movement around with Pep. Feel free to leave a comment below about who you think will be vital this week and going forward. If you feel I've missed anyone, put their name below to hear mine and other managers' thoughts. If you like this video, please give it a like and hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell not to miss more content coming soon. Thanks for watching.